A quiet cargo ship off Iran's coast hides a deadly secret. Known as the Shahid Bagheri, it's not a freighter but a mobile drone fortress, capable of unleashing swarms of armed drones. As US carriers close in, could this floating threat spark a global crisis? Let's find out. What looks like just another freighter has, in fact, become one of Iran's most powerful tools for asymmetric warfare. The Shahid Bagheri drone carrier, now fully operational, marks a new era in Iran's military strategy. This vessel can launch dozens of drones, allowing Iran to carry out reconnaissance, intelligence gathering, and even targeted attacks without risking a single soldier. For years, naval strategists whispered about the existence of such a vessel. Now it's a reality, stirring unease across the globe. Iran's military tactics have evolved rapidly over the past decade, and their focus on drone technology has played a major role in this transformation. Iran's drone program began in earnest in 2011 when they captured an American RQ-170 Sentinel drone, one of the US's most advanced stealth UAVs. This was a massive technological gain for Iran. By reverse engineering the RQ-170, Iran gained valuable insights into stealth and reconnaissance technology, allowing it to manufacture a fleet of sophisticated drones at a fraction of the cost. Today, Iran's drones are core components of their military operations. They've developed an impressive array of UAVs, with each new model pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Some drones specialize in gathering intelligence and conducting surveillance, while others are designed for electronic warfare, jamming enemy communications and disrupting radar systems. Even more unsettling, certain drones are programmed for kamikaze missions, where they're intentionally crashed into targets, causing maximum damage with minimal expense. This fleet gives Iran an edge in asymmetric warfare, where size and conventional might matter less than creativity and precision. The Shahid Bagheri carrier is crucial to Iran's drone strategy. By using a vessel as a mobile drone base, Iran gains unprecedented flexibility and reach. They're no longer limited to launching drones from land-based facilities. Now, they can project their power across vast stretches of ocean, creating a constant, unpredictable threat. The ship's layout reflects its unique purpose. Traditional aircraft carriers, like those used by the US, are built to accommodate fighter jets and helicopters, requiring extensive armor and reinforced decks. But the Shahid Bagheri is a different beast. Its narrow, stripped-down deck doesn't need the same structural integrity as a typical carrier, as it's built exclusively for lightweight drones. This unarmored design might seem like a weakness, and in some ways, it is. The Shahid Bagheri is highly vulnerable to missiles, torpedoes, and even attacks from small naval vessels. In a direct confrontation with a fully equipped US carrier, it would stand little chance. Yet, in asymmetric warfare, traditional rules don't always apply. Iran's strategy isn't to engage in head-to-head battles. Instead, they intend to outmaneuver and outwit. The vessel's drones could swarm enemy targets, overwhelming defenses with their sheer numbers and speed. They're not designed to withstand long-term engagements. They're built to strike quickly and disappear, leaving chaos in their wake. As tensions in the Middle East intensify, the presence of this mobile drone base raises alarming questions. The US Navy has long held dominance in these waters, patrolling the Persian Gulf with powerful carrier strike groups. But the advent of the Shahid Bagheri introduces a new kind of threat, one that doesn't conform to traditional ideas of naval strength. In response, the US has increased its own presence in the region, deploying additional vessels and conducting joint exercises with allies. The USS Abraham Lincoln, a Nimitz-class aircraft carrier, was recently dispatched to the area along with a full complement of fighter jets, destroyers, and guided missile cruisers. With 2 US carrier groups now positioned in the region, the stage is set for a tense standoff. However, the US Navy's strengths may also reveal its vulnerabilities in this scenario. Large carriers and heavily armed destroyers are built for conventional warfare, designed to counter large enemy ships and submarines. They excel in open ocean conflicts where maneuverability and heavy weaponry are decisive factors. Yet, in the narrow, shallow waters of the Persian Gulf, where visibility and space are limited, these colossal ships could be at a disadvantage. The Shahid Bagheri and its drones exploit this terrain, weaving in and out of radar coverage and using natural features as cover. The situation is a prime example of how asymmetric warfare tactics can level the playing field between a superpower and a smaller nation. The Shahid Bagheri's construction involved extensive modifications to its original commercial structure. Engineers stripped the ship down to its bare essentials, removing excess weight and reinforcing certain sections to support the drone's unique requirements. Its unusual deck design, which features narrower dimensions and a highly specialized layout, maximizes drone capacity while sacrificing traditional defenses. This approach allows for rapid drone deployment, enabling the vessel to launch multiple UAVs simultaneously. The deck's odd shape may seem impractical, but it's a deliberate choice to facilitate Iran's swarm tactics, where dozens of drones can be released in quick succession, overwhelming enemy defenses through sheer numbers. This unconventional vessel reflects a broader shift in Iran's military philosophy. In the past, naval power was measured by the size and firepower of a nation's fleet, but Iran is rewriting the rules, demonstrating that a fleet of small, agile drones can be just as effective as a massive warship. The Shahid Bagheri embodies this philosophy, a floating fortress that's more about strategic flexibility than brute strength. Iran's approach has drawn attention from defense analysts around the world who are studying this model as a potential blueprint for future naval warfare. Of course, Iran's drone carrier is not without its limitations. While it's highly effective in certain scenarios, it's also a vulnerable target. The ship's lack of armor means it wouldn't last long in a direct confrontation with a traditional carrier strike group. The US, Ilar-Hughes, with its advanced missile systems and surveillance capabilities, could theoretically neutralize the Shahid Bagheri before it even got close. However, that's only part of the story. Iran's strategy isn't to meet its opponents in direct combat, but to force them into unpredictable situations, creating confusion and complicating decision-making. The global community is watching these developments closely, especially countries within range of Iran's expanding drone capabilities. Israel, in particular, has heightened its surveillance and defense measures, having already experienced Iranian drone incursions in recent years. In February 2018, an Iranian drone penetrated Israeli airspace, evading Patriot missile defenses and requiring a close-range interception by a helicopter. This incident demonstrated the challenges Iran's drones pose to traditional defense systems, even in countries with advanced technology. And with the Shahid Bagheri operational, these capabilities are no longer limited to land-based missions. Now, Iran can project its influence farther and faster than ever before. Adding to the complexity, recent satellite images show Iran converting yet another commercial vessel into a drone carrier. If completed, this second carrier would effectively double Iran's ability to deploy drones across the region, raising the stakes even further. While traditional naval power still favors the US and its allies, Iran's approach complicates the strategic calculus. Instead of building a fleet to match the US in raw power, Iran has developed a force that thrives on unpredictability and surprise. Iran's drone tactics represent a shift toward a future where conflicts may be fought by unmanned systems, not massive battleships. It's a vision of warfare that values adaptability and speed over brute force. As more nations experiment with drone carriers, we could see a new era of naval combat where fleets of unmanned aircraft dominate the skies and seas, challenging the supremacy of traditional carriers. Despite its innovative design, the Shahid Bagheri faces major vulnerabilities. Without the protective escorts that typically accompany aircraft carriers, it relies heavily on its drones for defense, making it a fragile target. Traditional carriers operate within layered defense systems, with destroyers and frigates providing coverage against aerial, surface, and submarine threats. Iran's drone carrier, by contrast, lacks these support structures, increasing its risk of being isolated and overwhelmed in a confrontation. But that's precisely the paradox of the Shahid Bagheri. While it may seem fragile, its value lies in how it shifts the focus of naval warfare. Iran's military leaders are aware of its limitations, and they've tailored their strategy accordingly. The Shahid Bagheri is not meant to challenge a US carrier in open battle, but to disrupt and confuse. By deploying drones in unpredictable patterns, it forces larger, slower ships to respond to a multitude of small, fast-moving targets. It's a strategy designed to exploit weaknesses in traditional naval defenses, especially in the close quarters of the Persian Gulf. As the US ramps up its presence in the region, questions arise about the possibility of a direct confrontation. For now, both sides seem focused on deterring each other, maintaining a fragile balance of power. However, with such a concentrated buildup of military assets, even a small miscalculation could trigger a conflict with global repercussions. In this volatile environment, the Shahid Bagheri is a symbol of a shifting world order where smaller nations challenge the dominance of superpowers not through brute force but through clever, calculated tactics. Iran's new strategy is reshaping naval dynamics in one of the world's most contested regions. The Shahid Bagheri is more than just a drone carrier. It's a signal to the world that Iran won't back down. And as this vessel prowls the waters of the Persian Gulf, its presence is a constant reminder of how even the smallest seemingly insignificant threats can destabilize global security. While it's unlikely to defeat a US carrier strike group on its own, the Shahid Bagheri poses a real threat in scenarios that favor Iran's unique tactics. Whether or not we'll see a direct confrontation remains uncertain, but the implications of this new form of naval power will be felt worldwide. As the era of drone warfare advances, nations across the globe will need to adapt to a landscape where the rules of engagement are constantly shifting. Could this floating fortress ignite a conflict with global consequences? Only time will tell. If you found this breakdown intriguing, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more insights on the evolving face of global security. Thank you for watching.